Hi Year 8, well done for logging into your first RS lesson that you're going to have while you're off school because of the coronavirus. The main plan for this lesson is to do your key terms test, which you had a bit of time to revise for over Easter holidays, and secondly we're going to do the first lesson of the new unit, which is about Sikhism, and it's about a guy called Guru Nanak. Look, I've got a little statue of him here, so you're going to learn all about this guy later on. But first, it's time for the key terms test. So you're not allowed to cheat. You've had, how many? I think you had about 14 key words that you had to revise over Easter. And we're going to do the test now. So you better get ready, get a pen and some paper. Pause it while you have to scrabble around and go and find a pen. You probably haven't picked up a pen for weeks. Or some paper. Write on anything. Got a pen and paper? Excellent. So, as normal in class, I'll just say the word and you have to spell it correctly. You get a point for spelling it correctly, and you get another point if you write what the word means. Okay? And the whole point of doing this, by the way, in case you forgot, is that at the start of each topic in religious studies, we always give you some key terms, and the idea is that you learn them and then you can understand what some of the words are as they crop up throughout the unit. The main reason for doing this is that when it comes to GCSEs in year 11, half of the battle is knowing what all the words mean, so it's good to get to know all the words as you go through the different years of learning. Anyway, so let's just get on with it. So there are going to be 7 words, and you've got to write them down, write down what they mean and spell them correctly. I'll tell you all the 7, and then I'll go through the answers afterwards. You can mark it yourself and see how many points you get. So word number 1 is langar. Langar. I'm sort of waiting, but you could just pause it and I could just carry on saying them, I suppose. No, I'll give you time to do it proper, but I'll do it like live, pretending it's like a real lesson. Except I don't have to tell anybody off or anything, which is great. Okay, word number 2, Gurdwara. Gurdwara. I hope you're getting these right. Word number 3, well, it's 2 words actually. It's called Nishan Sahib. Nishan Sahib. Number 4 is going to be tricky if you haven't learnt the words and how to spell them properly, because it's sort of said, not how it's spelt. It's a bit of a hint there. Word number 4 is called seva. Word number 5 is waraguru. I'm not giving you enough time, I don't think. You can just pause it if you need more time, it doesn't matter. Number 6. Word number 6, oh, that's 3 words now, getting tricky, is called Guru Granth Sahib. The Guru Granth Sahib. You ready for word number 7? Just pause it if you're not, I don't mind. Word number 7 is called Khalsa. Khalsa. And write them all down. Make sure, do you want any repeating? No? If you do, just click back on the little red line and go back and listen again. If it's all good, then let's go through the answers. So, I've never done one of these tests, not in person before, by the way. So it's new for everyone. Right, so word number 1, I'll just write them down and show you how they're spelt. Number 1 is langa, and it means Sikh kitchen. It's a kitchen that Sikhs will provide food basically for anyone who turns up at a Sikh temple or a Gurdwara, and they will give you food. It's nice. I've been to one and it was great. And you're going to learn how Guru Nanak, who we're going to learn about today, started these kitchens, these Sikh kitchens, to provide food for people who needed it. He was pretty nifty. Anyway, the second word is Gurdwara. That's how you spell Gurdwara. Again, pause it if you need more time to check your spelling. Give yourself a point if you got it correct, and give yourself an extra point if you wrote that a Gurdwara is a Sikh temple or a Sikh place of worship. Number 3. I forgot how to spell this myself. Hang on. Number 3 is called Nishan Sahib, and if I can remember rightly, it's a big orange flag that is outside the Gurdwara, and it's got the Sikh symbol on it, which is called the Kanda, and they make a big deal out of this thing, this Nishan Sahib. It's quite a nicely decorated flagpole. It's basically a flagpole that is coated in and sort of not clothed, but it's got orange cloth all over it, and the flag is orange. And you'll learn about that when we do the lesson about the Gurdwara in lesson 5 of this unit, which again, you might have that in person, or maybe we'll be doing it on the video again. Who knows? Anyway, word number 4 is called seva. But look, it's spelt with a W. Ta-da! And anyway, seva just means selfless service. Sikhs believe that you should selflessly serve the community in some way, whatever way you can, and do stuff not just because you're getting paid, but because you want to, help people. And that's what it's at the heart of Sikhism, really. Seva. Whoops. Drop that thing. The fifth word, Waraguru, is spelt like this, and it's basically the Sikh word for God. It means wonderful Lord, or wonderful teacher, and it's what Sikhs use to describe God. And so hopefully you got that one right. The 6th one my handwriting's terrible, sorry. Hang on. Gotta rub out that. Okay, I've got it. The 6th one is spelt like this, Guru Granth Sahib. And this is essentially the Sikh holy book. They treat it like a living guru. You'll learn loads about it later on. But Sikhs believe that the Guru Granth Sahib is the thing that gives them their guidance. It's kind of like the Sikh Bible, I suppose you might say. And the last word, it's going to be tricky because there's different ways you might define this. But the last word is Khalsa, and it means the Sikh brotherhood, or the Sikh sort of gang, I suppose. And it's kind of describes the feeling of togetherness that Sikhs have. And again, when we learn about the Khalsa and the 5Ks in a couple of lessons time, you'll learn loads more about what that means and what it means for Sikhs to be a part of it. So that was the key. That was the key terms test. Mark yourself out of 14, how many you got correct, and if you got, I can't remember what a good score is off the top of my head, but certainly in my class, when people get anywhere above 10, I think, wow, that's pretty good, because that means you got loads of them right and spelt loads of them correctly, especially with an Eastern religion where some of the words used are different things to what you might be used to in Christianity and stuff like that. So some of the spellings are quite unintuitive. So well done if you got anywhere near a decent score. And to be honest, even if you did really badly and got them all wrong, well, it doesn't matter, because now you know the correct things and you can correct them at home and do, hopefully improve your knowledge just by hearing what the words actually mean. So those are some words that you're going to come across in this unit, and that will hopefully help you. Right, so the next part of this is we're going to do the lesson. So because you managed to get to this video, you obviously have found the homework or the closure work on Go for Schools. So now all you need to do is click on the link to the OneDrive, which has got the lesson materials in it. There you should find a PowerPoint that is a yellow one like this, and a video about the life of Guru Nanak, and also there's a worksheet there that you can write some notes on and things like that. If you haven't got a printer, don't worry about that. Even if the video doesn't work or whatever, even if the PowerPoint doesn't work, to be honest, I'm going to explain most of it on my screen. So I think the most important thing about these lessons that you're having at home is not to get stressed out about things. Stuff's not going to work. Maybe the video won't work on some computers, or I don't want you to waste lots of time just faffing around. Worst case scenario, this video is about the life of Guru Nanak and how Sikhism started. You could probably just look at that on Wikipedia and find out the information and make it into a poster. So that's what would happen in a normal lesson. If your teacher was away or poorly, I'd just run in and go, quick, make a poster about Guru Nanak. So don't worry too much. But anyway, if you have got those things, we're going to go through the lesson, and I'll explain stuff on this video about what kinds of things you should be doing. So it's lesson 1 about Sikhism. It's the third of the Eastern religions that you've learnt about this year. The first one was Hinduism, then you went on to learn about Buddhism, and now this is Sikhism. It's the youngest of all the 6 major world religions that we look at, actually. And we're going to learn how it began today and what that all means for the people who follow that religion. So the starter activity, once you click on the PowerPoint, it will come up with starter activity, and it says that you should list 3 of the best or most helpful things that you have ever learned in your life. Possible examples are learning how to tie up your shoelaces, learning to play FIFA, learning an instrument, learning how to read and write. So list the 3 best or most important things you've had to learn in your life. Write it on a bit of paper, or talk about it with whoever else is at home. What is it that you've learned that is the most important thing? And then reflect on that for a bit, and maybe you've got some answers. In class, people say things like how to talk or how to walk around and things like that. They're all stuff that you learn in your life. Then once you've written down that list, pause this and start it whenever you need to do the different things. When you've done that, the next slide asks you who taught you those things. Firstly, why did you pick those things? What was it about the 3 most important things that you've learned that made you think they were the most important things that you had to learn in life? Think about then who taught them to you. Who was it that taught you those things? Could you learn some things off loads of people by looking at how people act, or were some things specifically taught to you by saying someone coming along and going, right, this is how you tie your shoelaces? Or did you gradually pick stuff up as you go through life? Because sometimes you learn things at a specific time when someone says, right, this is how to drive. You are now having a driving lesson. I'm going to teach you how to drive. Right, do this and do that. Now you can do it. But other stuff you learn gradually by looking at loads of people, or if you're a baby, you see loads of people walking around and think, hey, I'm having some of that. I'm going to walk around too. And so some things we learn gradually, some things we learn at specific times from specific people. So that's what the first activity was all about, really. And then the next sort of point on the slide says guru equals teacher. So some things you learn just randomly by osmosis or living in society and just picking stuff up. Sometimes you learn things on videos or watching movies or whatever. But some things you need a specific person to actually tell you something that they know or want you to learn. And so guru as a word means teacher. And this person here, this is a statue of Guru Nanak, who is the founder of Sikhism. And I think when you're thinking about the 3 most important things you had to learn in life, maybe some of those things you had to have a specific person to help you. So that's what we're going to be learning about today. So Guru Nanak is the founder of Sikhism, and he started a new religion in 1499, and we're going to learn about his life and how the religion began. So the lesson aims are to be able to describe the main events of Guru Nanak's life. There he is. To analyse the importance of his religious experience that he had, and then think about how our life experiences shape us as the people that we are. And yeah, that's what we're going to learn about. So the first thing to do is we're going to read about Guru Nanak's early life, and I'm going to read the book to you, and you've got to, as you listen to and read along with me, you've got to write down a list of the main events in Guru Nanak's life while we're reading through the video. Okay? So I'm going to read it to you now. Okay, so this is the book we're going to be reading from. It's called The Sikh Experience, and it's chapter 1 is all about Guru Nanak. And I hope the people who made this book won't mind me reading it to you on YouTube. And, well, they can't do anything anyway. They can't come and get me because they've got to stay in their house. So I'm not too worried. So let's just read the life of Guru Nanak. It will tell you a bit about him. Remember that while we're reading through this, you are supposed to be thinking in your head, what are the main points to remember about Guru Nanak and his life? Okay, so I'll just start reading it to you now, and you can follow it as well as we read. So look at the map above. It shows the Punjab sitting between India and Pakistan. The Punjab is named after the 5 rivers that flow through the land. Punj means 5. Can you trace them with your finger on the map? Yeah, probably. So the Punjab is where Guru Nanak was born. He started the Sikh religion. Most Sikhs still live in the Punjab. Find Talwandi on the map. This is where he was born. Found it. It's there, look. Guru Nanak lived from 1469 to 1539 CE. This was about 500 years ago. That may seem a long time ago to you, but it means that Sikhism is the youngest of the 6 main world religions. Guru is not Nanak's name, it's a title, an Indian word which means teacher. And Guru Nanak said it is through actions that some come nearer to God and some wander away. That's kind of true. Good quote there. So here's a picture of Guru Nanak, and it says in the next bit, there are stories about Nanak as a boy which show how special he was. Some of them are miracles. The stories tell how he amazed religious teachers with his wisdom. They tell of his love for the poor On one occasion, his father gave him some money to use for trade, but Nanak gave it away. One story tells how a deadly cobra shaded him from the sun while he slept. One day, there's a picture of that, look. Sun's on him and a cobra's looking after him by shading him. That's a miracle, because they probably usually bite you. Another story tells how he let cattle go into someone's field and eat the crops. The owner of the field was very angry, but when they looked again, the cattle had done no harm. So that was one of the miracles. Apparently they came and got the master of the field, and he came and looked, and all the crops were back to normal again. So it's a miracle. Nanak did not draw attention to his miracles though. He knew that any power he had came from God, and he said, "Mighty is the Lord and great his gifts." In those days, people got married at an early age, and Nanak was about 16 when he married, and they had 2 sons, and he worked as an accountant until he was about 30, and he was known for his honesty. So far he's 30 years old. He's not really done anything that remarkable, apart from get married and be an accountant. But the next bit says, here we go. This is the most important bit now. Oh no, I've given it away. The next task is to say which is the most important bit, but okay, it may or may not be this next bit. Anyway, he was not very interested in work. He spent time in prayer and helping people, especially the poor and the lowly. Lord, your love falls on the land, and the lowly are cared for. One day he was bathing in a river when something very strange happened. He said that he met God. He returned 3 days later to begin his religious work. So basically he was in the river bathing, and his friends were around not knowing where he was, and he'd vanished into the river. And he believed, he said that he had been in the presence of God for those 3 days, and then emerged again, totally knowledgeable about how to live a good life. So once this had happened to him, the next bit says what he did about it. So Guru Nanak then went on 4 long journeys, and he taught people wherever he went. The map shows that he travelled from one end of India to the other. He also travelled to Arabia and to the holy places of Islam. His friend Mardana travelled with him, and he was a musician. Guru Nanak made up poems, and Mardana put them to music. This helped people to remember them. So if you think about it, Guru Nanak and Mardana were like sort of rock stars, I suppose. They would travel around, play songs, get people's attention, teach them about what he'd learnt from when he met God, and that's kind of how the religion began. So most Indians belong to the religions of Hinduism or Islam, but Nanak was brought up as a Hindu, but he refused to choose one religion. So these are some of the things that Guru Nanak did on his journeys. He takes the poor carpenter's food to the feast. He squeezes milk from the poor man's food because it is clean, having worked for, but blood from the rich man's food earned by the sweat of others. So he's been a bit of a political activist there, having a go at the rich people and sticking up for the poor people. And then he says, what's he saying there? God lives in all directions. So he's trying to basically say that original arguments between Muslims and Hindus are pointless because there's one God, and all religions lead to God. Anyway, Guru Nanak later started a new town called Kartarpur. This means the seat of God. Can you find it on the first map? I won't bother looking again. Actually, I do want to see if I can find it. Kartarpur. There it is. Found it next to, not too far away from Talwandi. Anyway. So it was where his followers could live. They could work and pray together. He called his followers Sikhs, and this means disciples. A disciple is someone who learns. Guru Nanak finished his travels and lived at Kartarpur. He opened a free kitchen there, Meals were served to visitors, and everyone ate together because all Sikhs are equal. Guru Nanak died on the 22nd of September 1539. One of his disciples, Lena, became the next guru. And this little storyboard here tells you about how Lena was chosen to be the next guru. So Guru Nanak's there saying, I'm about to die. I need to find a successor. Because everyone gathered around to learn about his teachings and he wanted the religion to carry on. So he said, I'll call my 2 sons and ask them to do something for me. And so he calls his sons here and says, will you carry this pile of grass? And one of them says, why? We don't need it. And the other one says, it's wet and muddy. It will spoil my clothes. Get one of the followers to do it. And this person comes along and says, I will do it. And so Guru Nanak then says, did you see that? Father dropped a coin. Yes, I did, but I'm not putting my hand in that pool of cold, dirty water. So they're not getting his coin for him. But again, Lena takes the coin out. And then Guru Nanak says to Lena, you will be the next guru. Your name will no longer be Lena, but Angad, myself. Now I can die in peace. And then he died. So again, the lesson there is that Guru Nanak wasn't happy letting his sons carry on being the main person of the religion, the main religious leader. He actually looked for someone who exhibited and showed goodness in their life and was willing to, chip in and do the right thing. Excellent. So now what you've got to do is use the information that we've just learnt about and make a list of the main events of Guru Nanak's life. When you flick on the PowerPoint, you'll see that the next activity is to prioritise and choose what you think are the 6 most important events of Guru Nanak's life and put them into your boxes in the workbook or on a random bit of paper, whichever you've got. I doubt many of you brought your workbooks home with you, so don't worry about it and just do it on a bit of paper. So the options are, he arranged a successor, he was born, he sang poems, he died, did some miracles when he was young. The Punjab had lots of Hindus and Muslims in it. He made a new town, went to the river to be with God for 3 days, taught equality. And once you've figured out which of those 6 you think are the most important and jotted them down, the next slide is basically what I would say are the 6 most important things. So, sometimes in lessons someone said, being born's the most important thing because without being born there wouldn't even be a Guru Nanak and there wouldn't be a religion of Sikhism. Well, yeah, that's a good point, but everyone is born and dies, so I think we can take those 2 as read, that they're not the most important things specific to Guru Nanak. But I know where you're coming from if you put those ones. But anyway, these are what I reckon are the most important bits. The fact that he performed miracles when he was younger, because that's always a sign of divinity. Jesus, for example, did loads of miracles. The fact that he had an encounter with God, spent 3 days when he vanished in the river with God. The 4 teaching journeys are really important as well. The fact that he taught equality of religions and also helped poverty by giving everybody food at the langar kitchen that he made. And then arranging a successor to carry on teaching what he'd learnt when he met God. So if the next thing to do is jot down those main 6 if you put different ones, and then try to extend each one by putting a little bit more detail. You might need to revisit the story, look again You could even extend it further if you wanted to go on Wikipedia or just Google Guru Nanak, find out some more stuff about what he did, find some more detail. Then the next activity is to watch the video clip that is in the shared drive, OneDrive, that is on the system. And when you've done that, it's time to reflect on the experience at the river. So when we're thinking about what happened to Guru Nanak at the river, you should click onto the next PowerPoint slide and you'll see there 4 questions that you should answer. So spend a bit of time just answering those questions, write down a few sentences about what you think about them. You can pause it if you want, and then we can go through the answers in a minute, but don't cheat and see the answers first. If you're still watching this the first time, pause it. Okay, I think you've had enough time to do that now. I bet some of you haven't even paused it and probably done the work anyway. But anyway, I can't do anything about that. We'll just have to see how it goes. So question number 1 is, what were the events that occurred at the river? Well, according to the Sikh faith, Guru Nanak was bathing in the river and he went somewhere. He was vanished for 3 days, and he said later that he had spent time in the presence of God and he had ultimate truths revealed to him. So that was the main experience that happened to him there. Question 2 is, explain what Guru Nanak might have meant when he said there is no Hindu or Muslim. There is neither Hindu nor Muslim. If you managed to get that video working earlier when I said watch the video clip, the guy who was narrating the story of Guru Nanak said that he said that to try to resolve religious differences between the two groups, Hindus and Muslims, because at the time in the Punjab there was a lot of angst between those two religious groups, and Guru Nanak, having just spent 3 days with God, learnt the valuable lesson, which is probably that God doesn't really want loads of humans fighting over what God is like. If I was God and I looked down and saw lots of people fighting and killing each other because they had disagreements about what I was like as God, I'd be furious with them. I'd just say, sort it out. So I think that's the message that Guru Nanak was trying to get across. He came out of the river, just spent time with God. Then they're squabbling about who's right, Hindus or Muslims, blah, blah, blah. And he just said, look, forget about it. We're all on the same path to God. So stop mithering about your religious differences and just get on with it and be a good person. So that's probably what he meant when he said there is neither Hindu nor Muslim. I think I wasn't there. I don't know what was going on in his head, but that's my idea. And then number 3, how did these events and new teachings change him, Guru Nanak? Well, again, if you think about what he was like before, when we read the story, he was 30, I think he was an accountant, he was married, just led a normal life really. He wasn't really doing that much to help other people, wasn't really doing a great deal really. And it's quite interesting and, well, provides a bit of hope really, that lots of these religious figures who do amazing things and lead people towards God, they don't really get going until they're about 30 or 40. So it's not that, even though I know when we learnt about Guru Nanak earlier, we were learning that he did loads of miracles when he was a kid, but, you know, he was otherwise a pretty normal, honest person, and then all of a sudden he encountered God and he became the founder of a new religion and led people to treat each other well and started a new religious movement, which is still going strong today. So that's pretty good. I forgot what the question was now. Oh yeah, how did those events change him? Well, it helped him rise above the religious arguments of the time and get back to the fundamental basics of being a good person, following the path to goodness or God, whether you're religious or not, and just looking out for each other, caring for people who need food or who are hungry, and he did quite a lot to help people of his time. Question 4 is, what might you have thought if you knew him at the time? Would you believe him? Again, that's a question that, if you're interested in doing A-level RS later on, I know that's ages away yet, but one of the key questions about religion in general is, if somebody says they've seen God or had an experience of God, as a person who is an onlooker or someone who might know someone like that, do you believe them? If your best friend or your closest family member that you trust most in the world suddenly said to you one day, I've had a religious experience, I've met God, or I've had an out-of-body experience, and I believe now that there's an ultimate overall connection between us all, and it's making me view life differently, and I'm going to not care so much about money and career anymore. I'm going to just go and help people, help the poor, and find true meaning in life. Would you believe that they have actually been in the presence of God, or would you think that they had that experience just in their own mind? And more interestingly as well, even if they did have it in their own mind, well, that may be the way that, if there is a God, that thing communicates with us. We don't really know what religious experience is. So that's another interesting question. That was question number 4. I forgot what we've got to do next. Oh, it's on the PowerPoint. If you ever forget what to do, just keep referring back to the PowerPoint. Oh yeah, so this bit, the next task is to explain, we're thinking about connections between what's happened to Guru Nanak, he's still over here, what happened to this guy and his life experience and how he started a new religion because of it, and how our experiences shape the lives that we lead. I think I wrote something like, Guru Nanak's life changed because of his experience. Few of us are likely to have had such a dramatic experience as Guru Nanak, but our experiences still shape our lives. I've never had a religious experience, and I'm not sure whether there's some overarching power behind the universe keeping everything ticking over. But the experiences that we do have really do shape the way that we live. So your task is to try and think of a positive experience, because you don't want to get all depressed today, but try and think of a positive experience that's had a good impact on you. So for example, it could be a school trip or a really nice family holiday that you went on, or it could be the fact that you met your best friend on a chance encounter walking through the streets or something like that. Maybe something just really amazing has happened to you that's made you see life in a different way. Something that could be something that someone's told you, could be anything really. And then you have to think, right for a minute about what that experience was and how it changed you or helped you in your life, how it sort of developed you as a person. Maybe somebody at some point tells you in your life that you make really good YouTube videos, or your TikTok dances are really excellent and you can make loads of money on that, or wow, you're really awesome at basketball, so you should pursue that as a career. So sometimes the things, even just one thing that somebody says to you, can make your life go in a totally different direction. For example, my mum said to me when I was younger, you're really good at explaining things to people. Maybe you should try being a teacher. And when all my other jobs that I tried to do didn't work out and got made redundant, I thought, yeah, I might as well give that teaching a go. And it's sort of worked out all right. They let me talk about stuff that I'm interested in as an actual job. And it's a good job that I don't try and make that many YouTube videos and stuff, because I keep getting it wrong, like forgetting to wear the same clothes if I film one bit after another day or something like that. Or sometimes it's hard to get the continuity right if you're making movies. Sometimes things can go drastically wrong for you. Anyway, now that we've got to the end of the lesson, you should have a bit of a time to reflect and think about what what we've learned about Guru Nanak and how he began the Sikh religion, and try to, on a bit of paper, maybe it's the same bit you used earlier, try and summarise what you think the main things are that you should remember about how Sikhism began and about who Guru Nanak was, and see what you think. Maybe pause it now and have a little reflect on that. And now that you've unpaused it again, I have written down, I think that out of the stuff that we have learned, one of the main teachings of Sikhism is equality, that you've got to treat people equally, and that's why Sikhs, whatever Sikh temple you go in, they will give you food. It doesn't matter who you are, what religion you are, they will look after everyone as much as possible. And also they believe in religious equality. Sikhs don't think that one religion is right and that others are wrong. They believe that all religions are paths to God, and if you were one religion, a Sikh person wouldn't try to convert you and say, oh no, you should be in my religion. They'd say, no, all the religions lead to God, so it's fine. So that's the second bit as well, really. All paths lead to God, and you should always try and do what you think God wants you to do, no matter what religion you are. Even if you're not religious, if you just substitute the word God for goodness, and I don't think it's any coincidence that those two words are so similar, God and good, because God is pretty much an idea of what is ultimately good. So even if you're not religious at all, you can still think in your head, is this thing I'm doing good? And if you know it isn't, then don't do it. And if you know it is, and you're not doing it, then do it. And that's pretty much what religion is, really. It's just an abstraction of trying to think what is good to do and pursuing that goodness. And I think sometimes people who are religious they forget the main basic point of the religion. They argue about the little things too much. And then finally, selfless service. Remember, you learnt that from earlier, seva. If you think about it, selfless service, just going out, I'm going to move this way a bit because I'm out of the camera thing, going out of your way to help somebody for no benefit to you is a thing that is good, and people should try and do that more, and that's what all religious people try and do. So if you aren't doing anything for anyone, then obviously that's not as good as you could be. So those are probably the main points of Sikhism. And next lesson, in about 2 weeks' time, we are going to learn about the different gurus, because as you know, Guru Nanak let Lena be the next guru instead of his own sons. And that shows that people who do these things, who do stay on God's path, try and be good and help others. Because remember, his sons didn't want to help him at all. He said, pick up this or whatever, and they were having none of it. They didn't want to help him. But Lena did, and that's why Guru Nanak said, right, you're the next guru. Take these ideas forward. And so, next lesson, you're going to learn about the other gurus, about what happened when that one died. And there are overall 10 living gurus, and then you'll learn about what happened after those gurus, because there aren't any human gurus around today. But you'll learn more about that next lesson. I'm going to go now, and you can do some other work, other subjects work. See you in a couple of weeks. Well done for your work today, if you did it. I don't know, I can't check. But well done if you did. If you didn't, don't know, not well done. Good luck getting away with it. And hope you did something else productive, not just shoot some pretend people on a computer game. And yeah, I'll leave it at that. See you soon. Bye.